tuned in for the first time. My name is Mireille Steenkamer. I'm a Jungian analyst based in Amsterdam. And together with my colleague Bushra, we talk about anima, amongst other among other archetypes.
Yeah, it's weird, Mireille, but I feel like I heard you saying anima, but it's about the animus, which is really an interesting, like, how do you call that?
For a
Yeah.
Jungian, let's say a Jungian
Yeah.
Jungian slip of the tongue. It is
Yes.
funny because in my mind I had animus, and I said no, it's not the animus, and my mouth said anima.
Yeah, because I keep thinking the whole week about the relationship between animus and anima. So, yeah, I'm gonna say who am I first for people who watch this podcast for first time. I'm Bushra Arbawi, Union analyst in Amsterdam. Yeah, these talks are actually about the animus, but we cannot talk about the animus. Actually, we can talk about the animus without talking about the anima, but these two, the animus is the man within woman in the unconscious, to say it very simply, and the anima is the feminine within man, also in their unconscious. So how are these two related? Maybe it's not the topic about in this podcast, but certainly next time maybe it's a very interesting topic.
Maybe it is the topic.
Maybe it is the topic, because we started this podcast because we are talking about something that intrigued you, Mireille. Let's take it from there, I think.
Yeah, something intrigued me. We were talking about, before we started recording, about movement and keeping on moving. The essence of whatever happens. So if you have a plan and you want to sow the seeds, how do you say it? Yeah, sow the seeds, and it doesn't work. It's important to keep on moving. I always find the word trauma in the collective. I have the feeling is like, ooh, trauma. But for me, this is exactly what a trauma is. A trauma is when the energy stops moving, so we freeze. Yeah, when you have an idea and you take the first couple of steps and it doesn't go how the ego wanted it to go, and you stop, it's actually kind of a small trauma, because you're actually stopping your own energy. And the essence is to keep on moving and to keep on flowing. And then we started recording, and I realized that our previous talk that we did last week, which was really a beautiful talk on intuition and the element fire and looking the dragon in the eye, I have not posted it yet on my Spotify, and I realized I stopped. So this is actually an example of the energy being stopped. Or maybe not even, maybe I'm being too hard on myself and I just needed more time. But the realization of the importance of posting the talk.
Yeah.
That we keep on moving and we keep on evolving. It's like the earth. I get a picture of the earth now. The earth doesn't stop rotating. It's his nature to rotate.
It doesn't say, okay, let me think about it, let me ponder about it, let me see, I'm going to rotate left or right. No, there is just yeah, a rule how things go. There is a law about how the earth rotating, the moon, the sun. Yeah, but I like what you said about trauma, about this frozen movement. What come up in me when I heard that is the frozen images, and then suddenly I was thinking anima. I was thinking this anima, it's all images about us women. It's images that are somehow, for us as a woman, the anima images are actually somehow we can say frozen images, because they don't have not really something to do with the woman as she is now, in movement, in becoming, in transformation in life. Those are images from the subconscious that are like, yeah, for a man who is really in an anima projection, it just projects these images on you as a woman. And I know this because it happened, especially when I was a bit some years ago. I could see or feel that I'm getting all this men see something in me. I don't know, this woman that's not me. And it's really like you can feel these images and these feelings, and they see something that's really has, for me at least, nothing to do with me, who I am as a person. Yeah, so this it's like
Say that that doesn't have to do with you as a person or the projection you get.
yeah, the projection. I get this really like, yeah, some man see some magical and I'm really quite down to earth person myself, and I am like, okay, oh, interesting, maybe. So, yeah, maybe I know this also, a lot of women, maybe there is something in me that I don't know. Let's see what's here. But most of the time it's just yeah, an anima projection. It doesn't resonate in me, it doesn't, but it's quite, it makes you curious as a woman to actually, for me it's about curiosity again. What triggers in me, it triggers this curiosity. That's also again the feminine, which is not always, the curiosity can be good, but sometimes it's just, it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, yeah, that's what
Isn't curiosity on itself already movement?
yeah, but again, it's a movement that does not have any, it can be
Direction.
very, yeah, there is no direction, there is no it's not a genuine curiosity, because this curiosity again comes not from a genuine interest in me, but comes from, yeah, actually, who is curious here? It's this man is curious about, not about me, but about his feminine side. So it's more a reaction to this man. I don't know if you recognize this energy. I'm trying to talk about something that yeah, so there is this reaction that I have as a woman. I react to the curiosity of the man about his feminine side, and most of men have no idea, because if they have an idea, they wouldn't do this anymore. They wouldn't relate in this way. Yeah, and actually, it's as if I'm relating with another woman from a mythical, magical realm. She could be amazing, but she is not really real.
Yeah, or is she not
Yeah.
conscious yet? In the
No.
person, in the end, it's the shadow side of the man.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Even in the collective unconscious.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the first thing you said about trauma and frozen, because we were talking about movement and frozen, and the image. So let's stick very Jungian. I want to stick to the image of frozen, because, I had to think when you use that word. We were talking about movement, so the element water, or yeah, like the earth doesn't think, it just moves. And then the element water, I had to think of the element water, and most of the earth consists of water. And the water is always moving. But and Dr. Emoto, he did a Japanese doctor. He did a experience, and when we freeze the water, beautiful crystal palettes, mandalas actually, apparently they are all becoming mandalas, appear.
I know
So
the book, yeah.
yeah, so the freezing or the frozen part has also a magical part.
Yeah, and idealism. What come up to me is that it's a kind of, it's an ideal image, like you said, these beautiful crystals, the beautiful mandalas, okay, but it's yeah, frozen. For me, it's like from the realm of ideas, the realm of the. It's like the magic of the beauty that is not in movement, that is not changing. It's like we put it there and we can look at it. We can also project it. Images are yeah, we can project them, but how that does that relate with movements? And I think how we work as unions, when you take from a dream, for instance, I do a lot of work with embodied dream work. When you take this image and like try to work with it as a movement, what happens? Something happens really, that this image changes. It never stays like the same, the first one. It becomes something else, and this is the movement. And this is a true image. It's not a frozen image. Sometimes it's frozen, which means that actually this trauma, you cannot yet work with it with the patient, and you stay there, and there has to be another way to get into this image, to enter into it. And sometimes yeah, you can use another another channel, like maybe not using images but using smells, or using the air, or just going really into the somatic body, and so that you get into the image. I'm getting a lot technical right now, but yeah, so it's interesting, this Frozen. You know the Disney film Frozen?
I had
Did
to
you
think
see it?
also of the same. I
Yeah,
also, when you said frozen, I immediately, it's archetypal. It's very interesting.
yeah,
Elsa.
yeah. Elsa, she's also frozen, and it's all about fear. Fear from in this case of Elsa, it's fear of her own power. It's fear of this archetypal power of the yeah. Also, she is the whole time busy with giving form to things. She makes beautiful things with eyes. It's about giving this form, and it's very much also, I think, the animus. The animus is really the capacity to give form to, when you get really to know it and to master this energy, to be able to play with it. You get to give form, and you are like, and in the beginning you see Elsa, she couldn't know how to deal with it, and she went away, and then she made this beautiful castle. And that's when it started. She started to get to know this energy, and to get also, there is also control is not always negative, because it's control in surrender, I call that. And that's pretty much, yeah.
It's actually a beautiful combination, or actually in the form, definitely, it's a male energy, animus energy, putting things in form, manifesting, whilst it comes from water, and water is a very female. So when we started our conversation about the connecting the animus and the anima, the water has both elements also. When when an alchemical process, in fact, because something happens with the water that makes it freeze,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that puts it in form. So something has to happen to this water element to make it freeze. So yeah, so what happened? So this
Well,
alchemy.
it's called fire. I can tell you. I think, because without fire, alchemy is actually. I was reading the book of our teacher Arno.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and he wrote a book about psychological alchemy from the he is from the acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Yes, thank you. From that angle, and it's very interesting because he called alchemy the art of in Dutch verheating. How can I translate that? It's the art
Heating.
of
Heating.
heating, but verheating has something of a process. It's the process of
Of
heating. And so the ice, for me, it's using cold heat, which is also a heat. Yeah, I think really it's a cold heat. Then you get ice, and then yeah, so it's the fire, the water, and
yeah,
for
because
me,
when you put your finger on ice, which is really cold, it you get like a burn.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Sorry, I interrupted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so the fire. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the fire elements. So you get also hold on this fire elements, and then you can start really giving form. The form is bringing it actually down to earth. It's really something real, like this castle that you see. It's not already like it's not only an emotion. It's not only an idea, but it's really like material. It comes back down to earth. This is like, okay, this is like, yeah, this was first an idea. Someone thought about it, but
Yeah,
with
that
we bring it.
materialized. It
It
materialized.
materialize. Yeah, and it's pretty much the alchemy, and also what we try in union work to do is take this spirit energy, this animus energy that can come to you in, yeah. Most of the animus energy in the beginning of work with women, I noticed, is a lot of ideas, especially critical ideas, especially ideas of you are not enough, putting you down as a woman in the beginning. And actually, at least the women who come to me, it's like there is one point where you really are as a woman like done. You cannot get it so much. It gets you so down, and it keeps you from sleep even. It makes all your relationship kaput, like we say in Dutch, and then you go to seek help. That's I don't know, in your experience, how does this energy start when there is really well, this energy is
Yeah, what would you call this?
yeah.
Because I totally recognize it, even still. I mean, this is like my life project. This taming this voice in me to that's putting me down continuously. And I'm just as we're talking about elements, the element air comes up in my mind. Because to me it seems like it's always there, sometimes in the background, sometimes more in the foreground. um, um, would you call it the animus?
Well, the animus is shape-shifting, so it comes actually in all elements, huh? But
Yeah.
but actually, again, I remember, I don't recall the quote, but the Wotan, the god from which
Yeah.
mythology is this? It's a wind god. So this the wind is pretty much also the element of it's a wind god. The animus it comes in that way. But then the animus energy is, again, when you get to know it and have mastered it, it's also the ability to give form, which is another stage. It's the artist actually in you, which gives form to all these things. Yeah, it brings it to earth, and it's so you cannot say that one element is animus.
No.
It's just there are stages, but it comes as a wind, and that's why also, like last time we used the breath, it's also getting really to surrender, but also to make your breath, to breathe consciously, but not to make it, to control it really, but to surrender to this unconscious. See our podcast of last week.
Yeah, because I had to think of the same, and that's why I probably used the word animus for this air, because it's such a collective, but it's the air that we breathe in and out, which we share. I mean, there's no boundary in it. It comes from inside me to outside me to inside you to outside you to inside. So this is the, yeah,
It's the spirit. Yeah, it's the spirit. For me, it's the spirit. This.
Yeah, I have to think of the spirit, the geest in the spirit in the bottle.
Yeah.
We call it in Dutch. And sometimes you want to put it in, and sometimes it needs to be left or out.
Yeah.
It needs to go out.
Yeah. It's great that you're talking about this bottle, because there is no alchemical work now without having this bottle. This actually, it's more like a womb. The womb that you take everything in and you let it actually cook, but you are holding it. The therapy is about holding it and giving it, holding the space and giving time for all these ingredients to take their time to and you are regulating the fire, huh? You are how much fire do I put?
And that's the experimenting, how much fire. And that's in therapy, indeed, it's a very close, you can gain clients by it, or you can lose clients by really connecting to this, the heating process. How much heat do you put under?
And indeed some people need more, some people need very less, and it's also a therapy style. I mean, some therapists are more like I don't know, it's a style also.
Yeah. And I like playing with it. I like and that's what I like about the Jungian work and about the archetypal energy, just to back to the water, to feel, or to what's needed, what's and I come up with this example now because I just had a client before this talk, and I've seen him many times. And today was asked of me a really different type of approach than I used to do or did in the past with him, or the last times with him. So that's why this water energy comes, to be able to feel what is needed. In turning on the heat. So I could have turned on the heat a lot, but it didn't feel I would connect.
Right.
And actually I turned the heat down a lot, and I used air. And so I really enjoy playing with the and I feel in our talks it's happening, playing with the elements. The elements, because it's such a beautiful imagery, and I can't come up with the word. The elements are beautiful examples of how things actually work in our psyche. So
there is a structure. I think that's maybe the word that you are looking for. There is a law in it. How things
I really
work, there
like the
is a
word
law.
law, you said.
Yeah,
Exactly. You
yeah.
mentioned it before, there is a
Mm.
law.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another client who asked me, why is there balance in nature? And I was a bit put off, and then I said, why do you question nature? It's like what you said, Earth doesn't think, oh, let's turn the other way around. It's
Mm.
it's the law. It's the law of
Yeah,
nature.
yeah. And sometimes it's time for a big disbalance. Think about thunder, think about earthquakes. It's also
Volcano
about,
reactions,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
also
I mean,
nature.
it's also nature. I mean, nature is not only this. Oh, this it's not only beautiful and only of course also, but it's also why did Dutch word keep coming? Vreed. Vreed. It's
Cruel,
also, yeah, cruel.
cruel,
It's
definitely
I mean
cruel.
that's also nature, and yeah, and again about anima projections. You see, the anima is some men tend to project all this only on women when, yeah, I don't know, some project cruel thing and some project the nice girl, the nice woman, it's just projections, but a real woman who is like down to earth is all of them. So you better be real with me, you know. You better see the woman in movements. What does she really? Who is this person? And not who she. I don't know. All these images. This. Yeah.
Yeah, and the word I was looking for was symbolism. I really like the elements of nature as the symbolism, like exactly what you said. Nature can be cruel, thunderstorms, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcano reaction. There's also a cruelty to it, but it's like the law. And in some way, our psyche, that or ego, or the word ego just came up. Our ego doesn't want to go there. It's like he wants to go against the law. It's like he wants to go against the law of nature. Whilst, and that's why I'm really into this symbolism of nature. Well, when we follow our true nature, and that's of course totally Jungian individuation, the process of becoming the self, it's actually the natural self.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this going back to your own nature, from connecting also to this archetypal energy from your own nature, not from a kind of projection from someone else. For a woman, this is very important because we've been, as a collective of women, we've been living in the anima, like living this projection on us and not living our true feminine. I feel like we are now going away from it. And also for men as a collective, if you may say, they are also moving from projecting their feminine to like manifesting their own feminine, which is really like great. We manifest our own masculine and men manifest their own feminine, and then we can create something together that is true, that is genuine, not like with the anima projection. It's like I don't create anything. I just react. I'm not really co-creating. I'm just reacting. And like some women even go very far to really have, because we have a feeling for this anima. We know her very well because she's been there always. She's been there also in the outside world. I mean, she's been like dominating the woman psyche. Yeah. So we know her, and I know from some clients who went so far that they really got to know her, and they transformed themselves also in their appearance to be this woman that the man saw in her, which is really like you've gone so far down to losing yourself, to losing your own nature. So the process of going back to who are you really? Who are you really? Who are you? Yeah, it's so fascinating and so beautiful work to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really beautiful. And
Mm.
talking about movement and talking about this, the anima and animus and the elements, I really feel like introducing a training day, which we don't have a date for yet, but using these elements, the 4 elements of getting to know our animus.
Yes. Great. Yeah.
And can you repeat for me one more time? You said your client or the woman you were talking about went so deep that she lost her.
She lost her own nature, as she is becoming actually another woman. She is not herself. She is becoming
Right. Okay.
the anima.
Yeah.
And yeah, and this is really like, if you listen, every woman, don't think with your head, but feel. This is really, especially women of a certain age, you recognize this. And also, it's really like also a stage of in the growth of women psychologically. Maybe it's a necessary stage. I don't know. I'm still questioning this and still researching it. Is it a necessary stage, or is it just a stage that's gotten into how we as collective, how collective of women have our history? Is it a necessary psychological
Right.
stage, or is it only history?
Yeah.
That's the question. I don't know yet. So yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. I
Mm.
don't know if it's well. Maybe for some it's part of their process. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So
Yeah. It's a
yeah.
beautiful way of experiencing your animus using the symbolism of the elements.
Hmm. Definitely.
So when you're interested, keep our Instagram. We will post it on Instagram and on Hipsy.
Hmm.
And well, the reason why I do, because I really feel it's the essence of our human growth. Really human, healthy, uh, healthy. Yeah, it's for our health.
Yeah.
It's really for our health to stay in contact with our true nature, or to learn to contact our true nature.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think this is it for today. Thank you for listening. And please look at the other podcasts, because they are all, yeah, you get from everyone, you get a different feel to the animus. And again, try to listen with your whole body, not with your head, because otherwise it's not. Some of them are, you can understand with your head too, but a lot of them are really like listen and let your body tell you what you are hearing.
Yeah, and on Spotify it's called Meet the Animus. And
Yes.
that's also our Instagram account.
Yes. Welcome to our Instagram account. Yes. Mm.
Thank you. Speak to you
Thank you,
next time.
Miraya.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bucha.
everybody. Bye.